If you've already been doing the Ezekiel for a while, you know if you leave just if the key is in the middle of your fingers, the more pressure you put, the more you hurt your fingers. It hurts. I attack the Ezekiel a lot. So you don't want the key onto your fingers. You want it to your knuckles. Very important. You want the key coming across your knuckles, not your fingers. So when you grab your hand in, see, you don't want to stop the key here on your fingers. You want to roll them in. So the key is on your knuckles. See, it has to be there. Very important, because then you save your fingers. As you're putting pressure, it doesn't hurt. So roll the hand in, and then when you go, it's on your fingers. So that's the first thing. Usually, once you're holding the person's head, you have your whole arm in. So you can see my hand is far away from his head and neck, right? So this is fine until I put the hand in. But then, as the second hand goes in, see that there's a gap between my hand, the key in his neck. See, the hand goes in. I have to pull. The key has to be touching his neck. That's very important, because most of the times my hand is far out. You're not going to keep the hand here, because even to control him, this is not a strong position. You want to really hold the head. So now the head is very secure, the mount is secure. And then after you place the hand, you roll your hand inside. After my hand goes into his neck, after I slide it. See, the key has to be touching, because then it's very difficult for him to escape. Now to finish the Ezekiel, there's no secret. You're just gonna straight your own arm. So the best way to finish, to put more pressure, is the arm that is over for me to straight the arm, right? And then my wrist get pushed against his neck and he tap. So this is the more correct way to put pressure. So the hand on top, that hand goes straight. There's a slight problem with that. It is the way that you would put more pressure into his neck. Yes, it is. But it does allow him, it gives one room for him to escape. There's one main escape on the Ezekiel, because the grip is not strong, because my fingers are rolled inside my gi. It's not like I'm not grabbing his collar. This is a solid grip. Of course, it would be deeper, but we're just discussing the grip. This is solid. It doesn't hurt my fingers or my grips. It is hard for him to deal with that. This is a much weaker grip. It's much easier to break this grip than to break that grip. This is very hard. He will not. This he will. So one of the main defense of the Ezekiel is for you to attack the grip, because I already know this is not strong. So to avoid that, because if he's to defend and I'm pushing his arm and he stops pushing the arm, it does put a lot of pressure in my fingers, and sometimes I have to let go because it just hurts the fingers. So to avoid that, is just to avoid his escape. What I like to do, I lift my other arm up. So I keep my elbow on the floor where he cannot manipulate the arm. So I will lift the other one, and there's absolutely nothing he can do against the other arm. So the end will be hand inside. Remember, roll the fingers in, put the hand, and then slide in. Now I keep my elbow on the floor. See, he cannot fight against the arm. And then I'm going to lift my other arm up. So that way I'm not giving him any chance of attacking the arm to escape. So I keep my elbow on the floor and I lift the other arm up. It's very important, because if you're fighting against someone experienced, the moment that you lift his hand, the moment that you lift your arm, they will attack the arm. Not always, of course. Sometimes even them pushing the arm, you can still make them tap, but it is a weakness. So you allowing him maybe a chance to escape. But if you lift the other arm up, then there's no chance. Then he will tap. Another detail, very, very important, that I found much easier to get the hand in. Is the angle, right? I keep for you to put the hand in. See, my elbow doesn't stay down. I lift my elbow up because now coming from his head down, I'm able to put a lot more power sliding the hand through. This is important. Instead of trying to go through across his neck, you want to open your elbow because now my wrist is straight. There's a lot more force coming down this way than if I have to bend my wrist and go over. Because my wrist is bent, this is very weak. So to fight against his defense, his hands on the way, is very difficult. Because my wrists are bent, I have no power with my wristband fighting against this way. If I lift my elbow up, now this is straight. I have a lot more force driving in to go through his arm. Very important. Lift your elbow up and then come from above the jaw line and slide it through his neck. Very, very important. So don't keep your elbow down. Lift it up and go. And remember, pull the gi. After you put the hand in, slide in, look. Now I'm pulling my right arm. So now it's very tight. Slide and get